down to it and shoot for the sky.
All right, and we're live. Hello and welcome to the Ring Post Daily Podcast. You're listening to myself, Jesse Hendrick, the RPD Ring General. We also have the RPD Prophecy Champion, Tyreek Ramsey, Eddie Wade, the Future Champ, Joey Hudson, the Honorary Oos, and our special guest today from Honorary Wrestling Federation, Ashlan Shaw. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Doing great. How are y'all?
We're doing pretty good. So
Doing
can
well.
you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who aren't familiar with your work?
Federation, they're feral, as they'd call them. When I'm not in the ring tearing it up, out in the woods, doing my own thing.
All right. And not to mention, you're a history-making feral wrestler for Honorary Wrestling Federation. You and Pitchick had the first women's match in HWF history, and then you guys repeated that, and then now you're just coming off a big match with Angel Metro. Is that correct?
Actually, I didn't get to wrestle Angel Metro at our past. I'm actually dealing with a rotator cuff injury right now. Happened a couple nights before the show.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I wasn't aware that there was this change.
We're not sure when my timetable is for coming back yet. But...
Well, we hope that it's a speedy recovery regardless. So then, who ended up wrestling Metro then on that show?
Was Taylor? She was supposed to be in the intergender trios match.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Well, either way, we're still very happy to have you. So I guess I'm just gonna kind of get into the questions here because unfortunately Ty does have to leave us quite soon. So besides yourself, who is on Ashlan Shaw's Pro Wrestling Mount Rushmore? And then do you specifically have a men's Mount Rushmore and a women's, or do you just have one that's together?
I've pretty much just got one, but it's like so many different names that you could put on there. Like for me, Shawn Michaels is one that always just right to mind. I mean, you can't really undersell how much John Cena's done for the business, not just WWE itself, you know. Then you could put guys like Hulk Hogan on there. I don't, because I'm not a Hulkamaniac.
Me neither.
But,
I was going through my wrestling stuff, and I was like, what can I sell? I was like, hey, I don't like Hogan, so I can sell all my Hogan stuff. It won't hurt me a bit.
But yeah, you know, you could put Rock, Austin on there. I mean, there's so many facets to wrestling, too, that it's so hard to pick, because then it's like, you've got guys like Roddy Piper, who were just absolutely incredible on the mic, and just incredible characters. You've got, you know, Jake the Snake for his psychology.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, Chris Jericho up there just for how easily he invent himself.
And there's so many ways to view wrestling, and so many different perspectives on how you take it, and what you consider better and what's considered like what you put over what priorities or accomplishments you put over different things, and it's kind of like it's like a if you know thing.
Yeah,
that type of
my cup of tea could be like something that somebody doesn't like at all, and vice versa. But there's nothing wrong with those opinions.
Yeah. Beauty's a pro wrestler.
Yep, it's very much a variety show. There's something for everyone, whether man, woman, child. Somebody who likes comedy, somebody who likes drama, somebody just who likes a athletic match. If you take them to a wrestling show, if you take all those different people, they're all going to find something that they enjoy about it. So I think we'll continue here. Ty, we'll let him do his 2 questions here because then he's got to get going.
So, Ashlan, could you talk about the origins of your name and when you decided to kind of bring it into the ring, and like when you decided that?
So pretty much Ashland Shaw was like always the name, like whenever you're a kid and you're thinking about like, oh, I want to be a wrestler. It's like you got to have that dynamic name, and it's like I always think back to something Jim Cornette used to say of like you got to have a name that passes the name test of like, is that something here being called as a world champion?
Or seen on the
Yeah.
marquee,
Yeah.
Is
like,
it
yeah,
memorable? Is it easy for people to recognize?
or
Yeah,
even
or chant.
chant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Much where the name Ashland Shaw came from was I came up with it when I was younger, and just it's always stayed with me. And then pretty much once I decided, all right, it's time to get this wrestling thing rolling here,
Any relation?
it was the obvious thing.
Any relation to Samuel Shaw, better known as Dexter Loomis in WWE?
I think when you look at the characters, there might be
That's
a
what I'm saying.
distant,
Love to
like
hear it.
he's like a second or third
There you
cousin.
go. All right.
So my next question would be so we all kind of just mentioned this briefly, and we were talking about it in last week's episode with our guest. But it's like anything can pretty much happen in the wrestling world. It's like anytime I watch TV, it's like I watch wrestling. I'm like, and I think I know what's gonna happen. I'm just like, but it still can go the other way. So what's kind of the craziest thing you've seen as of late, being in the industry, and like just what you've seen in general, or any stories that stand out?
Oh man, there's so many. I've seen actual fights happen in the like just in the back. Egos, tempers get heated. I've seen people that I thought have had all the talent in the world just up and leave the business for who knows what reason. But also, I've seen tickle fights happen in the hallway. Like,
My God.
it really is. You're just walking backstage and don't know.
I'm just imagining Matt Silks and RD Mosh just having a tickle fight in the locker room.
Joey, you better watch out.
I mean, you're not.
April.
What?
That's great.
It's crazy, and that's all backstage stuff. And it's like when it comes to in ring, just as wild stuff can happen on television or just
Well, I've
in any ring.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. The fans can be unpredictable. At our last show, I saw a fan get carted out
Oh
of the
my
building.
God, what happened?
Van Williams returned, and definitely not well liked in Lewistown.
Really? Okay. Is there a little bit more meat on the bones there? Can you share what happened with us?
I mean, I don't really know what happened, to be honest. I was just out there, kind of hiding in the back watching the main event. And then I just see one of the fans getting carted out in handcuffs,
Damn.
and he was screaming.
All right.
What's going to happen? Sometimes it's the fans causing everything.
Anything can happen at the HWF Coliseum, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
My first
Eddie.
question, I would like to ask you, how would you describe your journey into the pro wrestling world? You kind of talked about having a name already picked out, but I'm just kind of curious on like what got you into the business, how you got into the business, etc.
So, like, I've always been a fan of the business since I was, 9, 10, 11. I had friends in middle school, show me, oh, hey, here's the Hardy cool wrestler guy. And I was just like, now that kind of stuff, that's what I want to do.
That's cool.
Much the high flying, but the just, beating people.
Yeah, I mean they had that aura of cool with them.
Yeah. especially to teenage
Yeah.
kids, you know.
Yeah, the impressionable
But
2,000-year-old or the 2000 kid's mind. Yeah.
Yeah, those were before my
yeah,
time in school.
yeah, and then it was after college. I was just kind of I was actually working with a wrestler. Us we met each other through work, and hey, working the show, AON Wrestling out of Johnstown, and from there we met the guys from Lewistown. They brought me in. They had me start as referee, and then after about a year, Matt was like, "Hey, let's if you want to be a wrestler, let's get this training going."
That's
The rest is
awesome.
history.
I was just about to
That's
ask how
kind of
you actually
similar
got
about
into
to
it.
how I got in. I started off as a
All
security
right.
guard.
I can't. I
You did,
can't
didn't
take
you?
you
Yeah.
seriously thinking about you as a security guard, Eddie. All right, Joey.
So my first question is, growing up, who was your favorite wrestler? Who got you into it the most?
It was the Hardy Boys that first, like, I saw them and it was like, all right, this is pretty cool. And then from there, it went to, all right, then I saw Shawn Michaels and it's like, oh man, this guy's awesome. And then that evolved to Chris Jericho, just seeing how many different characters he could do and he nailed it every single time.
Yeah, it's weird with Chris Jericho
That's
because
awesome.
he's very snake like, where he changes his skin, and obviously it's still Chris Jericho, but he has all these different personas that he can call on seemingly at
Listen,
will.
if you want to tell a girl you look like Chris Jericho, just
Yeah.
don't
And
tell her
Bray
which Chris
Wyatt, for that matter,
Jericho.
was really like that. All right. Um,
Jokes on her, she's
yeah. Uh, because I was about to say, because we're kind of playing with house money here. We're going pretty fast. Do you have any like cool road stories for us? Being with HWF. Obviously, you've been around for a little while now. You got to have some great stories being in that locker room.
I'm just sitting here trying to think of which ones I'm actually allowed
Oh
to tell.
no!
I don't know. I've had some pretty wild ones. One of my favorite ones is I'm not gonna name any names yet because it's a little secret for things that are happening later on down the road. But I met my boyfriend through wrestling. Not gonna say who he
Okay.
is.
Kayfabe is alive.
And the first like actual words out of to him, other than the polite hi, how are, is I hear him talking about, and I just like poke my head up and I'm like, wait, you guys need chloroform? I know how to make that.
Okay, then.
And just like the dead stop of like, what did you just say?
Now I gotta ask: were you in full gear and everything when you said this? Because that's gonna make it a whole bunch scarier. If you walk up as feral Ashley Shaw saying, "Hey, I know how to make chloroform."
Yeah, I was a referee at the time, so
Okay,
I
Neil.
feel like it's
Oh,
even weirder.
yeah, that's not much better.
Referee's just like, I know how to make some chloroform.
All right.
But which teaches you
Yeah.
apparently.
You mentioned that you were trained by, Matt and the rest of, the team over there. What can you tell us about, learning under, Matt and, the HWF, training team?
I mean, it
I know they're brutal. I've seen some of the workouts, and man, they push you
yeah,
guys.
like, oh yeah, it's crazy. We're out there pretty much any weather unless it's like terrible to the point if we take our stuff for the ring out, destroy our ring. But we've been out there in the snow, We've been out there in 100 some degrees. During the rain, we work through all the weather. Negative degrees, we're out there.
Wow.
It is certainly not for the faint of heart. And a lot of people come in trying to train and they don't make it past a
I
couple
was about to
weeks.
say, do you have like any sort of like Hell Week or something where you get the new recruits in and you push them? See who's gonna make it.
We don't necessarily have, because like we don't have like a set time of like, all right, this is when we're accepting trainees. We accept them year round. So it's just kind of like, the ones that come in the spring or the fall, they'll usually stick around a little bit longer because it's like, oh, the weather's nice. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
But also, it's also seeing how long they'll last, because sometimes people say they want to get in the business, but then like you said, like 2 weeks of training, then be like, nah, try something else.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how rough on the body it is.
And it's not just
Yeah.
about being a wrestler either. Like as a referee, you go through quite a bit of rigorous training too, don't you?
Oh my God, yeah. It's like my first ever show being a referee. I was the only referee, and we were in a building, middle of July, middle of nowhere, no AC, and I'm
Ooh.
repping the whole.
Wow. Sounds like they had a lot of trust in you at least at that point to let you do a whole show on your own.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
What kind of building was it? Was it like a warehouse of some sort, or?
Fire hall.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nice. All right. Joey, you can go ahead.
So I'm dying to know this, but as a wrestling fan and a wrestler yourself, this might be the biggest question you're ever asked in your entire life. But do you acknowledge Roman Reigns? Do you acknowledge him as your tribal chief? Do you acknowledge him in general? Do you just acknowledge Roman Reigns?
That is the most important question I think I've ever been asked.
He asks this
I'm
to
glad you think so.
everybody. He has a problem. We're
Until he
getting
loses
him
the title.
tested.
Until he loses the title.
Yeah.
It's coming up soon.
You better get out of here for that.
Little over a month left.
I'd have to say, yeah, gotta respect, how long he's had the belt.
Okay.
This, especially in the modern era, who else would have a reign that long? And yeah, you can make arguments that it's getting stale, but at the end of
I love every second of it.
at the end of the day, it's still making money.
But I will say that it's like I think we'll enjoy what because I do think Cody will win and he will carry the title. I think we'll enjoy that. But I also think it's like when the reign is gone, we
Yeah.
will miss it.
Oh,
I do believe we will miss it. Well, eventually you'll get to a point like, damn, maybe it could have
It goes
gone
back.
longer, but it's time. It's time right now.
I just want to see him hold it till like September and beat Hogan's record. Like get that racist out of the third position.
I heard some people saying they want him to hold it until 2030 so
Bruno.
he can beat Bruno's record. I'm just like,
Yes, that's my dream. That's my dream.
I think he would have to hold it until like August of 2028 or something like that to beat Bruno's record.
Hey, as much as he's not been wrestling, that's possible, dude. All he has to do is 4 matches
I was
a
about
year
to
and sit on
say,
the couch.
That'd be crazy,
You're-
but by that point, everyone in NXT will be freaking main eventers by that point. It's gonna be insane. How different it's gonna be.
Wrestlers' kids will already have been in the business.
Right.
You bring that up that the NXT wrestlers are all be up and everything. You know what I would have loved to have seen, Roman do before he loses the title, because Joe, he's going to lose the title. But I would have
No,
loved
he's
to have
not.
seen him
No,
at
he's
least
not.
like put the title on the line at like some random SmackDown again, just one more time, and have him beat Braun Breaker. Because I mean, even though Braun would lose that match, he would gain a whole hell of a lot just having that exposure, being in the main event for a main title. That would have been really
I
cool
thought
for
Braun
him.
was going to be that guy for the next like 10
Well,
years
you're
or
gonna.
so.
Oh, absolutely. Like they have the whole package with him.
Wait,
I mean, he's
all you guys are gonna be wrong when Roman wins it and continues to be champion at
I'm
WrestleMania.
telling you, it's like I always say, anything could happen.
I can't
That's what I'm
Joey.
wait.
As
afraid
much
of.
as I
That's what
acknowledge
I'm afraid
Roman
of. That it's
Reigns,
just
I'm
gonna happen
Andrade.
twice. I'm just be like, ah,
Like I
no,
can't.
it's
I
just gonna happen.
can't.
But I
Joey,
really don't think so. I
I can't
really
wait
don't
till
think
we. I
Cody's
can't wait
winning.
till I see you guys on screen again, and y'all have to
Joey,
face
if
me.
you wuss out and Roman is not your super pick for WrestleMania for night 2, I am gonna beat you senseless
Well,
with this ring.
I've already told you that if Roman loses, I'm gone for a complete month. I will see you in 30 days. I will have to take this as a agreement. You all sit there and call my bluff. You'll see.
Are you gonna disappear like Roman Reigns
Yeah,
will? You're gonna
Hard
disappear.
time, Joey.
You won't even hear a word for me, and then you won't even hear me for 30 days, not a peep from me, and then on that 30th day, I'll just join in on an episode, and be like, hey, I'm back.
You're a disgrace, Joey. You really are.
That's how much I believe
But
my tribal chief.
regardless, so happy tribal chief noises in the room.
Wait a minute. So yeah, she said So you said you acknowledge him, right? Or you do, or you don't.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to get that answer out there.
All right.
Get that on
What are
And
video.
your goals in wrestling for this year? I know you told us about the injury that probably put a little damper on him, but um, before that happened, what would you say?
It hopefully by summertime I'll be back. So I mean, definitely, HWF's biggest show of the year is summertime, Summerfest. So it because I'm almost certain I'm gonna miss our next one, May 11th, the Ass Kick a Saturday Night, if I'm allowed to say that
no, you're
word.
fine.
Okay, but yeah, so I'm almost certain I'm gonna be missing that. Uh, so yeah, I'm looking hopefully at a Summerfest return. Get my match with Angel Metro that I didn't get to have.
Now,
I've been
I
studying up for a while, preparing for it.
yeah, you don't want to lose that. Um, I don't know if you're allowed to speak on this if or not, and if you aren't, that's totally fine. But do you kind of have an inkling of her status with HWF? Is she going to be staying on with you guys for a while, or what's the deal with that?
I'm not 100% sure, like, what her, if there's a contract there or what. That's pretty much, that's on the
'Cause
boss,
I was about to say, I
Trista.
know Trista's been
That,
really pushing for getting more women's talent into the locker room, so I was just wondering if she was somebody you guys secured yet
yeah,
or not.
yeah, I'm not sure with all those situations.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm just hopeful we get a lot more women in there in general. And honestly, a lot more guys too, because I do want to be an intergender
Awesome.
wrestler. So that's something to look forward to in 2024, going into
Have you
2025.
wrestled intergender matches before, or is that something you're building towards?
I my original debut was a battle royal for Seven
Okay.
Mountains. I was the only woman in that. And then I was the only woman in the Enterprise Amplified Battle Royal that happened this past Feb. I was the only female in there, and I also wrestled Ron Holiday on that
Wow.
show.
Okay. All right.
Was not victorious.
It happened.
Well, I mean, it's
It's a
Ron
part of it.
Holiday. Come on.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you're not gonna win them
But
all.
hey, at least you were out there and you got that, exposure like we talked about, and you got the experience.
Yeah.
So then I guess I got to ask, since we're talking about the locker room and building it up and bringing more women in, I know there's been rumblings of a HWF women's title. Now, I know nothing is confirmed, but is that something that, you guys are levying for? Is that something you see as a, strong possibility on the horizon?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's, like me and Pitchick, we laid the foundation for it. The fans
Yeah, the
absolutely
fans
loved
want
having
it.
women
Like that's
wrestlers in
very
there.
obvious.
Yeah. So that it's process of, we're gonna find as many talented women wrestlers as we can get. We're gonna try to get them brought in and build up a
Awesome.
division. So there's a lot of
There really
fantastic talent
is.
out there.
All right. Um, yeah, I mean, and
Mhm.
that's not just, not even just in the Pennsylvania area, but just in general, indie wrestling is just booming right now. If you keep up with the Facebook kind of the temperature of everything, everybody's just, it seems like everybody's on fire lately, and it's awesome to see.
There's there's good wrestlers everywhere, everywhere.
I keep saying that you guys should try to reach out to a friend of the pod, Shelby Waters. She was actually our first female talent on the show, and she's in the Pennsylvania area. So, I keep telling Matt, I'm like, reach out, because we want to see our friends work together.
I mean, I'm sure he has, and it's just the trying to work
Yeah.
out the dates
Well,
now.
and she just came back from, maternity leave and an injury. So, I mean, I'm sure she's still getting into the swing of things
Yeah.
anyways. But regardless, like I said, we just want to see our friends work together. That's cool for us. But regardless, um, do you have any sort of socials you'd like to plug? Or I know you talk about Ass Kicking Saturday Night, which is when?
That is going to
May
be May
11th. All right.
11th.
And then is there another show after that that's been like updated yet? Or
Uh, I just know that we're going to have our Summerfest coming up. I don't know the date exactly for
okay.
that yet, but but you can still find pretty much most of your favorite HWF wrestlers. We work PWX. We're going to be down there this Saturday, the 23rd. You know, Mosh, Silks are the tag champs
Yes,
down
they are.
there. Edward James going to be down there. Funnel Boys, Bros, whatever.
All right. Yeah, and then where can people find you on Facebook? Twitter.
Uh, I'm just Facebook, Ashlan Shaw, like my page. I don't have a Facebook like add me as a friend. I have a personal
Yeah.
one. That's it.
All right. All right. Is there anything else you have for us? Any sort of closing thoughts?
Not really, just keep up the good
Oh,
work, guys. I've been
I appreciate
watching
it.
the
well,
podcast. I'm
thank you.
enjoying it.
And we, of course, would like to see you keep
Thank
up the
you.
Thank
good
you.
work as well. Keep making history, and who knows, like we were just talking about with the possibility of a women's championship on the horizon. We'd love to see you, throw your hat in that ring. So we hope you keep doing what you're doing and making history.
It'll happen.
Hmm.
I'm back from this shoulder injury. It's firing on all cylinders.
Love that
Got a lot of
mindset.
lost time to make up
Absolutely.
for.
All right. Well, from the Ring Post. From the Ring Post Daily, myself, Jesse Henrik, the RPD Ring General, RPD champion, Prophecy champion, Tyreek Ramsey, Eddie Wade, the future champ, Joey Hudson, the honorary Oos, and our special guest, Miss Ashlan Shaw. Thank you again very much, ma'am, for your time, and we can't wait to see you back in the ring.